Hey everyone, welcome to Gen Pop, the YouTube channel where we talk about everything general pop culture. My name is Tony, and on this video, we're going to be talking about all the comics that I read last week and some comics that I'm going to be picking up this coming up week. So, to start us off, let us begin with The Spectacular Spider-Man #1, written by Greg Weisman, drawn by Humberto Ramos, and the cover artist is also Humberto Ramos. So, what did I think about the Spectacular Spider-Man, this first outing with the joint venture of Peter and Miles? I actually thought it was pretty good. So I enjoyed the story a lot. This story kind of takes both characters, and at first we kind of throw them into, they try to meet up and talk about um, having some nice conversation between the two, which I really like, especially now recently. Both have kind of been in their own comics, doing their own thing. And besides this last series that we've got in Gang Wars, they haven't exactly gotten to come together and conversate or talk about what's going on in their lives. So I really like how this series gives them the chance to sit down and kind of have those conversations. They meet up, they try to meet at a coffee shop where Peter tries to become a regular, and he ends up talking to this guy behind the counter, and eventually they kind of form this relationship. When you go into a place and they kind of start knowing your name and your order, and you're like, man, I've been in here way too much, where they know exactly what I want. Here, Peter's really looking for that, and eventually he does get it by the end of the story. However, it is not just all mundane, everyday things taking place between them. They do end up going in their spider costumes and tracking down this monster that's going throughout New York. It's connected to sorry, we do everything off the cuff on this channel. It's connected to, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on who it was connected to. The Jackal. Right. It was connected to the Jackal. There's something going on here with his laboratories. We're just starting out. However, I do recommend this, especially if you're really tired of the solo Peter Parker Spider-Man. The Miles Morales Spider-Man has been pretty good. I'm actually been pretty happy with where they have taken Miles, where they're writing him. Peter, not so much. So if you are a little tired or not happy with the Spider-Man story going on, I highly recommend giving the Spectacular Spider-Man a bit of your time. The next comic that we are going to talk about is X-Men #32, written by Gary Duggan, and the artist is Phil Noto, and the cover artist was Joshua Cassara. This comic mainly focused on Ileana and her trying to get over the nanites that got put in her body that was kind of limiting her powers in her run with some other of her female X-Men co-stars when they went to one of the Asgard realms in the series that I cannot think of right now. So she's trying to get over that. We meet up with Shadowcat, who is going through a Orcus facility, trying to figure out a way to get the nanites out of her body. She eventually does, with the help of Emma Frost, who takes them out of her body and destroys them, and she starts getting some of her abilities back. So we've got Ileana back on the table. We are confidently moving towards the fall of X and the big battle between Orcus and the X-Men. So I am really excited to see where this one goes. I cannot wait to see where Jerry Duggan takes the story and ends up wrapping it all up eventually. The next comic that I read last week was Thanos #4, the solo Thanos title, which really isn't a solo Thanos title because it stars the Illuminati as well as Thanos and Mistress Death. In this comic, Death and Thanos collide, and the Illuminati try to take on both and fail in both regards. Thanos is trying to take over Death's position. Death has gotten weak, so to spare her the indignity of being so weak, Thanos is going to take charge. I really have liked the solo Thanos series. While no means the best, like it's I would describe this to being popcorn comics, and that's not an insult. But what I mean by that is there is no real deep thought with this one. There are some ideas to latch onto, but this isn't your normal, or should I say, deep philosophical Thanos book, like you would have Thanos talking to Adam Warlock. This is really good art. I failed to mention that this was written by Christopher Cantwell, and Luca Pizzaria is the artist, and uh, Lynn Francis Yu did this cover art, or this cover. It has been a really well drawn book. I really have enjoyed my time with this book. I really like the fact that Thanos was actually driving a car a couple issues back. I thought that was really funny. This comic is just fun. I mean, if essentially it is just a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something fun, um, there is some concepts with like death and stuff like that. And want to become human, so it's not devoid of anything and devoid of thought. But I have liked this a lot. This has been a lot of fun, and I do recommend this book if you are in the mood for something fun. And it is canon, if you want to use that word. I don't like using that word, but there is mention to the fall of House of X, and there is mention of stuff going on in the Avengers. So if you're into that kind of thing, it also can tie into everything that's going on as well. It's like a little side story for the Illuminati. And this might be a jumping off point that Marvel takes with the Illuminati, trying to pick that title back up, seeing if there's some interest, if people would be interested in seeing more stories from this new set of the Illuminati, which currently in the Illuminati, you have all the typical members. You have Iron Man, you have Reed Richards, Doctor Strange is there, Adam Brashear is there, and you also have some X-Men representation with Emma Frost. So if that's something you're into, definitely check out this Thanos series. It is a limited series, but do not know if this is the last one. I know that there's a big tease for Thanos, and that Marvel has something planned for Thanos during the summer months. So definitely check that out if you're interested. The next comic I read was Venom number 31, written by Torin. I am so sorry. Gronbeck. Ken Lashley did the art, and C. Kef did the cover. This story is the second part in a series of books spanning both Venom and Carnage books, where, and piggybacking off of the Death of the Venomverse, where Venom has become where Carnage has become a god. Carnage is back, and born anew from a symbiote, goo and blood, Cletus Cassidy is the most dangerous and violent than ever. He begins his sights dead set on the unsuspecting Venom, which in this case is Dylan Brock, Eddie's son. So Carnage is going after Dylan, trying to get to Eddie. If you saw, I believe it was the last Venom book that Eddie was in, Carnage actually gets to the Meridian's Garden, and so we'll see how this connects to that. And we'll see how this Venom storyline and Carnage storyline is going. I've been actually a really big fan of the Carnage series that was written by Ram V previous to this. I believe that Carnage run was really good. I had a lot of fun. It's fun seeing Carnage just do his thing, give his ideology, and not just be a brain dead simpleton. So if you're definitely into that, I would definitely check out Ram V's run on Venom, or on Carnage, excuse me. And this is kind of going into it. It's not as well written as Ram V's Carnage series was, but I still think it's really good. I'm having a lot of fun with this Venom storyline. It's really mind twisting and trying to figure out where all the pieces lie. So I'm definitely excited to see how all these pieces interconnect at the end. The next comic, just rapid fire going through these. Next comic I read was Avengers number 11, written by Jed McKay. Ivan Forelli was the artist, and this cover was kindly provided by Stuart Imond. So this comic I would classify as kind of a in-betweener filler comic. It is it's definitely story relevant. However, you can definitely feel like this was kind of the break, right? We had that whole storyline before with some of the um, night characters, and they fought the big bad, like their first big bad, and now we're kind of transitioning into this new storyline. They have this city that they're using as a base. It's out in space. Jarvis is getting the city set up to prepare to pamper to the Avengers. Some stuff goes awry, and the Avengers have to fix it. I definitely enjoyed this series, this comic. I've been enjoying this Avenger run. Jed McKay's doing a fun job. I'm having a great time following along with the story. All the Avengers are kind of working well. This Avengers roster, including Tony Stark, Black Panther, Thor, Vision, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Sam Wilson, and Scarlet Witch. I actually did like in the series they had Vision and Scarlet Witch kind of talk to each other, kind of that awkward, hey, how's it going kind of thing after you split up. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoy how they do kind of tie this into uh, Fall of X. Captain Marvel is like, hey, we're the Avengers. We should be able to step in and help Orcus fight. Tony Stark saying, hey, there's a time and a place. We've got a plan in place. Please just follow the plan, kind of go along. So we'll see how that pans out. The only thing I am kind of confused about is how this ties into Thor's current arc. If you're reading Immortal Thor, and spoiler alerts to what I recommend later on, if you are really into Thor, it's kind of confusing about how this plays into Thor, but maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll tie it in. Maybe they won't. But for Avengers book, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm having a lot of fun following along. If you just want something fun to follow along with, I definitely recommend picking up these Avengers book. Next thing I read was Captain America #7, written by J. Michael Straczynski and Carlos Mongo, or Mango. I'm sorry, no, Mongo. Correct me in the comments how it's supposed to be pronounced. My apologies. And the cover artist was Taryn Clark. So this Captain America series, I have a lot of thoughts about this Captain America series. J. Michael Straczynski's first arc in this was really good. I really enjoyed it. Some of the metaphors, if you like subtle metaphors, I can't say that Straczynski does that very well. Intentionally, he doesn't do that in the first set or the first arc. Everything's kind of on the nose, and that's fine. I don't think the people that it's supposed to be targeting are really going to either see that or they're going to take offense to that. So do keep that in mind. But the first part, I really enjoyed it. I really liked kind of the recap, some of the retelling, or giving some flashback into Cap's early childhood, dealing with some of the people during World War II before he became the super soldier. This book, Steve Roger joins ends the fight against Asmodee. The day is won. However, he meets a new stranger named Layla, guardian of the mysterious front door cabaret, which was a great set. I really enjoyed seeing all of the fantastic drawings and creatures and people of this front door cabaret. He learns that defeating Asmodee unleashed like a new threat. Asmodee was like the right-hand guy to this big bad, and now Captain America has to help fight that big bad and keep them from entering the main Marvel universe or the Earth. Typical superhero stuff. I really like the art. I believe the art was fantastic when they were in the cabaret. Like I've already praised all the characters and stuff seen in the cabaret, but also just some of the backgrounds when he gets to a certain part in it and we see this fantastical world. I really like the art. I'm having a fun time with this. Um, it's again, it's kind of like the um, it's it's deeper than the Thanos book, but it is that same kind of like almost summer blockbuster, ear popcorn, see the cool sets type that I would kind of describe it. There are some deep ideas presented, especially in the first half. We'll see where this new storyline takes us, but so far, I'm having fun, having a lot of fun with Captain America. I am actually having more fun with this Captain America run than I did with the last Captain American run, where it was flashing back between him and or Steve and Falcon. That series, while I did kind of like the concept, it felt a little bit corporate. This one, I feel like Straczynski is definitely trying to tell a story that he enjoys, and I really do appreciate that. The next thing I read was actually a DC title. I read Batman number 145. So this is coming off of that Joker year one arc that lasted a couple issues. Um, Apparently, there has been some allegations of some AI art used in places. There is some Twitter threads with some evidence pointing to the fact that AI was used to create some of the imagery. I'm not going to speak on that. I do not know enough to cover that, or do not know enough AI or art to really go into detail about that. However, if that is the case, that is very disappointing because some of the art I actually did really like how it was displayed. I'll say that. But this is continuing the Zur storyline. Batman is in prison. He has to, in Bloodhaven. He has to get out, and he has to go fight the Zur robot that Zur has created for himself. Zur tracks down Tim. Was it Tim? Who was it? Tim. Now I'm blanking. I just read this the other day, literally yesterday. He tracks down, I believe it's Tim, and he has a conversation. If it's not, tell me in the comics. But he tracks down, has a conversation. He immediately recognizes that it's not Bruce, that it is the Zur program, and they have a little bit of a fight. Then um, Zur goes to Damien, and Damien kind of gets lured into trusting Zur. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we don't do this thing where it's kind of a, who do you trust kind of thing, because I think it's a little played out in some media. But if it is, that I'm sure that Chip Zdarsky will do a great job. Chip's a great writer. I'd say Chip like we're personal. Zdarsky's a great writer. I really have enjoyed his stuff in Batman, especially that first confrontation with the protocol that Bruce made if he ever goes rogue. I really liked all that, all the Superman stuff. Chip Zdarsky's Batman has been pretty great. There has been some lows that I haven't exactly been on board with, but this Batman has been pretty good, and I am enjoying it. So I'm sorry, forgot to mention that the writer is Chip Zdarsky. The artist is George Jimenez, which George Jimenez work has been fantastic when he's doing it. I really, really enjoyed the art. Jorge Jimenez. Sorry, I said George earlier. Jorge Jimenez. No, it is George. I'm sorry. My apologies. Jimenez's work has been fantastic. I love his arts in these comics. They have been really, really great. So, the last thing I want to talk about, and I did save the best for last because I honestly think that this was the best comic that I read all week, and that is Ultimate X-Men #1. Ultimate X-Men #1. Written by Peach Momoko. She does the writing and she does the cover and the art. This has been a fantastic start to this Ultimate X-Men. Now, let me preface this. It is not your typical X-Men comic. Nothing that Peach Momoko does is typical, and this is no different. So she is the writer. If you remember the Demon Days comics that also took place during the Krakoan era, she also did those. She also does some Star Wars work, and she is taking over this Ultimate X-Men line, and this was great. I cannot emphasize how good the art was in this series. It definitely does not feel like a typical comic. In fact, I would compare it more to a manga than I would anything. However, that really does play for the strengths. It plays to the art. There is a entity in here that is kind of representation of guilt. In this, I'm not going to spoil much because I really, really want you to go read this because I want you to experience the story that she is going to lay out and the art for yourself. Just know that if you crack this open, I guarantee you're going to love this series. I definitely, definitely, highly recommend you stay on this. Keep reading it because one, it's really good, and two, it's something different, and it tells Marvel that we like something different, right? When we see the same thing over and over and over again, it kind of becomes a little stale. It becomes a little boring. These artists, like Momoko, when she does something like this, it kind of freshens up, and freshening up and bringing new ideas is always a great thing. So those are the comics that I read last week. The ones I definitely, definitely recommend are Ultimate X-Men. Again, I cannot emphasize how much I liked that series, that book. The start of it was so, so good. The other one I recommend is the Spectacular Spider-Men. I think this is a good start, and it's going to be fun seeing Peter doing some actual fun stuff instead of the lackluster performance that he has been having in his own solo book. Hopefully, this coupled with Ultimate Spider-Man will kind of tide us over until maybe we get back to something good in the Spider-Man line, the solo Spider-Man line. But the way Marvel treats Spider-Man, I highly doubt it. So let's enjoy what we have, such as the Spectacular Spider-Man, and again, Ultimate X-Men, I highly, highly recommend. So this is the part of the show where, excuse me, this is the part of the show where I move on to some books that are coming out next week. So these are some of the stuff that I am going to be picking up and reading. Starting off, we have Green Lantern #9. So this is Jeremy Adams' work. He has been helming this Green Lantern series. And so far, I have really, really enjoyed it. So, how Jordan is trapped on Earth. He has a ring. It's not exactly working. It's not a traditional lantern ring. For some reason, he can't leave the atmosphere. And there's something going on out there that he probably needs to go out and go out and check. So, this has been great. I'm going to pick this up. This has been really fun. If you like Green Lantern, if you like Hal Jordan, I definitely recommend this comic. The next one I'm going to pick up is another Ultimate book, Ultimate Black Panther #2, written by Brian Edward Hill and drawn by Stefano Caselli. And Caselli also does the art as well. So I read the first Black Panther. I really enjoyed it. I've really been enjoying this Ultimate line. So I'm going to pick up Ultimate Black Panther 2, and I'm going to continue enjoying this Ultimate universe and how this is crafted. I did like the art in the previous book, And I hope that the art continues to be just as good in this book as well. The next book I'm going to pick up is Dead X-Men number 3. So, Dead X-Men number 3, written by Stephen Foxy, and it is drawn by several people. Dead X-Men. This is the book where Rachel Summer is recruiting some of these X-Men to go through different timelines, trying to find a Moira that they can use to restart the universe. Um, Dead X-Men number 1 and 2 were decent. They weren't anything too out of this world. I do enjoy the characters that they have picked to be on this team. Um, this along with Cable, and Cable's a different story because the Cable solo series is trying to set up something beyond um, this Fall of X. They even mentioned that they say, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but they say in Cable that Orcus is bad, but you haven't seen this new threat. Dead X-Men, it is connected to the Fall of X. However, it still feels like its own little thing. It's been a decent little book. I'm going to continue reading it because it's part of the Fall of X, and I have been reading since the start of the Krakoa era. So I want to try to finish everything till the end of the Krakoa era. Mentioning the Krakoa era, we have Fall of the House of X number 3. So the end has truly begun. The X-Men have taken all they're willing to take from Orcus. Now it's time for them to do the dishing out. Unfortunately, just when it seems like one threat is over, another rises to take its place. The final battle of Krakoa Age rages as the two series that are one move toward a crash that will echo across the universe. So this is kind of the other book that is a part of the Fall of House of X. There's a two-part, kind of like how we had at the beginning of Corona era, and I do like the symmetry we've had. This is also written by Jerry Duggan and drawn by Lucas Warnick and Pepe Larraza, who has done some fantastic covers. Continues to do fantastic covers in this Fall of House of X number 3. I am definitely interested to see where this Fall of the Krakoa era goes. It is going to be interesting what they do after um, the Krakoan era. I will say that the Krakoan era has definitely feel more connected than the X-Men universe has kind of felt in a while. So I'm hoping that after this kind of Fall of House of X and after everything settles, we don't get too disconnected and the books start to become their own thing. Like, I want the books to do their own things. I want the books to be able to branch out and tell their own stories. I just don't want it to get too desegmented and kind of lose some of that charm that the Krakoan era had. I know people are very derisive about the Krakoan era. I have actually really enjoyed the Krakoan era, so we'll see where we go after that. The next book that I recommend that I'm going to be picking up for sure, that might be hopefully my comic of the week, is Immortal Thor number 8. So this is written by Al Ewing, and Eben Robertson is the artist. So Al Ewing is doing fantastic work. He's doing fantastic work with this Immortal Thor series. Of course, Al Ewing did his little magic on the Hulk series before, and now he's on to the Immortal Thor series. Thor is dealing with these uber gods that were before him, and also we have the Enchantress kind of poking her nose throughout everything, kind of meddling in Thor's life. So this has been really good. I've really enjoyed the writing. The writing has been fantastic. It is definitely a little heady and sometimes can feel a little bit confusing to read. Like, I've had to read these comics a couple times or reread lines just to kind of get the idea that Ewing was trying to portray. However, once I got it, the story has been great. I cannot praise the art in this one enough. The art is really great. I like some of the aspects of the bigger gods. I like the backgrounds. This art has been fantastic. This book has been fantastic. And I expect no less for number 8. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Carnage number 5. So this is following directly after the events of Venom number 31. Carnage has Dylan, but is Dylan just bait for Eddie, the King of Black himself? Time for a bloody brother bonding. So, this is written by Gorbeck, and Pierre Perez is the artist, and Juan Ferreira. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They are doing the covers. So I hope this continues the story that continues along with story. Well, it will continue the story, but hopefully this continues with the standard that the story has been laying out. Um, I know that this is leading to some kind of big event because Marvel's constantly doing big events um, all the time. That's one thing. But I know this is leading to some kind of symbiote event that's going to be taking place during the summer. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, there'll be some good fighting in here. This cover looks really good. Um, this might just be kind of one of those popcorn, read it, enjoy it, turn off your brain kind of things. Although this Carnage series has been setting up this kind of idea that Carnage is this like cult leader and he's killing off people like related to Bible verses. It's a whole thing. If you kind of like that kind of mystery or not, well, it's not a mystery because you know who's doing it. But if you kind of like those kind of ideas, I recommend picking up this Carnage series. The last book I'm going to be reading is The Wolverine. So, this is Benjamin Percy wrapping up his run, his fantastic run on the Wolverine character during this fall or during this Krakoa era. Benjamin Percy, who has a fantastic voice, I might add, has been doing a great job with the Wolverine character. He knows the Wolverine character. So, this, I will say, is just going to be another continuation. Wolverine versus Sabretooth in the Sabretooth War Part 5. So, last time on the Wolverine series, there had been some things where Sabretooth had attacked the Krakoan base, killed Wolverine's son, killed a bunch of mutants that were in there, and now Wolverine is out for blood. So, this series is going to continue that. I'm looking forward to this very much. Again, this is going to be written by Benjamin Percy, and Jeffrey Shaw is going to be the colorist, the artist on this. The art on this Wolverine, especially the Sabretooth War, has been pretty good, very consistent. The art has been enjoyable for sure. So, these are the comics that I read last week and the comics that I recommend or I'm going to be picking up this week. Again, this is Jit Pop, the YouTube channel where we talk about everything general pop culture. Hopefully you stick around for these videos that I'm going to be producing on the show. Again, we're going to be talking about more than just comic books. We're going to be talking about manga, movies, anime, all kinds of stuff, general pop culture. So if that's something you're into, please stick around and, of course, like and subscribe.